Zorath was not like the humans he had only read about in the data archives. He was an elite alien chef, renowned throughout the galaxy for his culinary skills. For decades, Zorath had perfected the art of cooking in the finest kitchens of the stars. His specialty was creating dishes that balanced not only flavors but emotions. Dishes that could make even the most stoic beings feel joy, sorrow, or nostalgia. His food was designed to resonate deeply with the senses, mixing science and emotion perfectly. He was admired by many, even feared by some. No one doubted his skill. But everything changed the day he tasted human food for the first time. It wasn't planned. Zorath had been sent on a diplomatic mission to an uncharted planet. As part of his assignment, he was supposed to explore human culture and record the peculiarities of their food. Earth was known for its diversity of flavors, strange textures, and sometimes curious methods of preparation. It was considered a place where primitive beings created simple meals from basic ingredients, nothing sophisticated or refined. Yet Zorath's curiosity was piqued, and he decided to experience it firsthand. That day he tried something called pizza, a seemingly simple dish with bread, cheese, and tomato sauce, topped with various other ingredients. At first, Zorath dismissed it as unremarkable. It was nothing compared to the complex creations he was used to making, yet when he took that first bite, something inside him shifted. The flavors hit him all at once. The warm bread, the creamy cheese, the tangy sauce. It was a combination that made no logical sense to his trained senses. But somehow it worked. His taste receptors, which were designed to sense the finest and most complex flavors, were overwhelmed. For the first time, he felt something he could not explain. Connection. Zorath could not understand why, but the dish did something to him. It was unlike any food he had ever tasted in the entire galaxy. It was as if the simple, humble dish had awakened something deep inside him, something emotional. The taste was not just about food. It was about belonging, love, and memories. It reminded him of something he could not place, something he had never experienced in all his years of traveling through the stars. He closed his eyes for a moment, savoring the experience. He was aware of the food's simplicity, its rawness, but there was a depth to it that spoke to him in a way no high-tech delicacy had ever done before. What was this feeling? Zorath's thoughts swirled. He realized he was no longer just a chef. He was changed. This single human dish had sparked a desire in him to understand more about humanity, something he had never been interested in before. He had been content in his perfect world, cooking for the elite and maintaining his place at the top of galactic cuisine. But now he was starting to feel an intense pull toward something simpler, something more real. Zorath wrestled with the conflict inside him. He had always seen humans as primitive, their cultures inferior to the advanced civilizations he had encountered. Yet this food, it had a power that even his most sophisticated dishes lacked. The realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. The taste wasn't just about flavor. It was about the connection humans had with their food, their cultures, their emotions. How could such a simple dish have such a profound impact on him? Why was he feeling this way? His alien mind struggled to process it all. Was this weakness? Or was it something more? Something that could change the course of his life forever? Zorath's thoughts were interrupted when he was called back to the Galactic Council. His superior, an imposing and emotionless alien leader, looked at him with suspicion. Zorath knew what was coming. "Zorath," the leader said in a cold tone, "you have been distracted lately. Your behavior is unusual. Why do you waste time with this primitive food? It is beneath us. Focus on your mission." Zorath tried to defend himself, but deep down he knew he was no longer the same. He had tasted something that no sophisticated, emotionless creature could comprehend. And as the leader's words cut through him, he realized that he could not go back to his old life. His world, his perfect job, and his perfect dishes suddenly felt meaningless. In that moment, Zorath made a decision that would change everything. He would leave his life behind. He would abandon the Galactic Council and the high-tech kitchens of the stars. He would leave behind everything he had ever known and follow his newfound curiosity. He had to know more about Earth, about humanity, and about the food that had unlocked something he had never known existed in him. Zorath's plan was simple yet bold. He would leave it all behind. He would journey to Earth, and for the first time in his life, he would experience it, without the constraints of his old world. With that decision, Zorath's ship powered up, and he set course for the strange, primitive planet known as Earth. Zorath sat in the control room of his sleek spaceship, his hands gripping the controls with a mixture of excitement and fear. His mind was racing, trying to process what had just happened. The taste of the human food, the overwhelming emotions it brought him, and his decision to leave behind everything he had known. It was all too much. He had always been so focused on perfection, on being the best in his field, but now, for the first time, he was questioning everything. His job as the top chef in the galaxy had defined him for years. The Galactic Empire had relied on his skills to impress other civilizations, and he had built his reputation as an unshakable professional. But that all seemed insignificant now. Zorath had experienced something real, something that went beyond the perfect recipes and elite kitchens. The raw emotions brought out by something as simple as pizza had shaken him to his core. He was leaving everything behind. His prestigious position, his status, the entire galaxy's expectations, and rushing into the unknown. Earth, a planet he had only heard about in reports, a place filled with strange beings and primitive technology. But there was something about humanity that had called to him. He could not explain it, but he had to find out more. Zorath felt the weight of the decision pressing on him. He was scared, confused, and uncertain about what lay ahead. His entire career, his life, had been built on the foundation of logic and precision. But this was different. He was following his heart, something he had never done before. The Galactic Empire would not understand. He would be branded a traitor, a failure. But despite the fear, Zorath felt a sense of liberation. For once, he was acting on his own instincts, not on orders or expectations. As Zorath's ship shot through the vast expanse of space, a warning light flashed on his console. He glanced at the screen. Bounty hunters, sent by the Galactic Empire, were tracking him. The Empire would never let someone like Zorath escape. He was too valuable, too well known. The bounty hunters were ruthless, skilled at hunting down deserters like him, and they would stop at nothing to bring him back. Zorath quickly activated the cloaking device embedded in his ship. The ship's sleek design shimmered for a moment before it vanished from the scanners. He exhaled deeply, trying to steady his nerves. He had to stay calm. He had the advantage of technology, but these bounty hunters were dangerous. They wouldn't give up easily. The chase began. Zorath pushed the ship to its limits, speeding through asteroid fields and narrowly dodging deadly space debris. His cloaking device worked for now, but the bounty hunters were good. They were closing in. The tension was palpable. Zorath's heart raced, not from fear of death, but from the uncertainty of the future. His mind was still grappling with his decision. And now, he had to survive this pursuit to reach Earth. With each turn and evasive maneuver, Zorath's ship surged forward, weaving through space with an almost unnatural grace. He was using everything at his disposal, his speed, the cloaking technology, and his knowledge of space navigation, to stay ahead. But the hunters weren't far behind. The chase was becoming more intense, and every moment felt like a step closer to danger. Zorath's thoughts were consumed with one question: could he truly escape this life? Could he reach Earth and find the answers he was seeking, or would the Galactic Empire catch him first? The next few minutes would decide his fate. Zorath's ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, cutting through the sky like a streak of silver lightning. The vibrant colors of the planet below filled the viewports, a sight so different from the sterile, controlled environments he was used to. He could see bustling cities, green landscapes, and vast oceans, each part of the planet teeming with life in ways he could never have imagined. As his ship neared the ground, he marveled at the chaos that filled the planet. There was noise, movement, and energy everywhere. People walked the streets, some in a hurry, others seemingly content with their lives. Vehicles zoomed past, and towering buildings rose like giants from the ground. There was a certain rawness to Earth. Its untamed nature was something that felt so foreign to him, yet strangely magnetic. Zorath was in awe. This planet, so full of diversity and contradictions, held a pull that he couldn't resist. It wasn't like the highly organized, technologically advanced civilizations he had known. Earth was imperfect, messy, but it was alive. and for the first time, Zorath felt a sense of connection that he had never experienced in his own galaxy. As he landed in a secluded area, his ship touched the ground with a gentle thud. The sounds of the Earth's atmosphere were overwhelming to him. Cars honking, people talking, and the distant hum of machinery. He stepped out of his ship, his eyes adjusting to the harsh sunlight and the unfamiliar smells. The air felt different, heavy with humidity, yet invigorating. This was it. Earth. Zorath's journey was only just beginning. He needed guidance. Someone who could show him more about this strange world, its culture, and its food. As he wandered through the streets, he found a human chef named Marco, who worked in a small but popular restaurant. Marco had been preparing meals with great passion and care, and Zorath immediately recognized the same intense drive he had once felt for his own craft. After a brief conversation, Marco agreed to teach Zorath the art of human cuisine, despite Zorath's strange appearance. Marco saw something in him, something beyond the typical curiosity. As they worked together, Marco explained how food wasn't just about taste. It was about connection, about inviting others into your life, sharing memories, and even understanding your roots. For Zorath, this was a revelation. In his old life, food had been about perfection, impressing others and showing his skills. But here it was so much more. Zorath learned that food had a deeper meaning, something he had never considered. It was a way to connect with people, a universal language that transcended species. Marco's lessons weren't just about cooking, they were about life, relationships, and understanding the heart of humanity. Zorath began to realize that perhaps his place on Earth wasn't just about the food. It was about finding something real, something he had been searching for all along. But Zorath's peaceful escape was short-lived. The Galactic Empire had tracked him to Earth. A fleet of Empire agents arrived, determined to bring him back. They had orders to capture him at all costs. Zorath and Marco found themselves cornered in the restaurant kitchen. The agents stormed in, their weapons drawn, and the chase began. Zorath, with his alien strength and agility, fought back with a surprising intensity, using kitchen tools as weapons. Knives flashed, and the sound of metal clashing echoed through the room as he evaded the agents' attacks. Zorath and Marco worked together, using their combined knowledge to outsmart the agents. Marco was quick on his feet, throwing a hot pan at one of the agents, while Zorath used his advanced technology to disable their weapons temporarily. The fight was intense, and the odds were against them. But Zorath was determined to protect the new world he had just discovered. As they escaped into the streets, Zorath couldn't help but feel a rush of adrenaline. He wasn't just fighting for survival now, he was fighting for his new life on Earth, a life he had never imagined. The agents would stop at nothing to bring him back, but Zorath was ready. This was his fight now. As Zorath's ship finally touched down on Earth, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. The planet before him was nothing like the sterile, perfect worlds he was used to. The air was thick with the scent of fresh earth, spices, and the distant hum of city life. His senses were overwhelmed by the richness and diversity of everything around him. The noise was constant. Horns honking, people talking, children laughing, yet it felt alive. Every moment pulsed with energy, unlike the quiet, controlled atmosphere of his galaxy's most advanced kitchens. Zorath took a deep breath, his chest expanding as he absorbed the foreign air. It smelled of life, of imperfection, and he found it oddly comforting. The chaos around him was unlike anything he had ever known, and yet he couldn't help but be drawn to it. For the first time, he felt like he was part of something real, something beyond his usual pursuit of perfection. He wandered through the streets, struggling to understand what it was about human food that had such a powerful impact on him. The dish he had tasted, pizza, was simple, almost primitive in its design, and yet it had stirred something deep inside him. It wasn't just the taste, it was the connection it represented. Zorath realized that human food wasn't just about flavor or nourishment. It was about emotions, memories, and relationships. Food here seemed to carry meaning beyond the ingredients. It was a way to connect with others, to share moments, and even to understand one's place in the world. Zorath's heart raced as he tried to make sense of it all. The concept of food as a bridge between people was new to him, and it filled him with a deep curiosity. Why did humans use food to express love, to build traditions, and to create bonds? Why did something as simple as a meal hold such deep significance for them? The more he thought about it, the more fascinated he became with humanity's connection to food. To fully understand this new world, Zorath knew he had to dive deeper into human culture. He needed to learn more about the role food played in their lives and how it shaped relationships, traditions, and society. As he explored the city, he found himself drawn to a small, local restaurant that smelled of delicious spices and sizzling dishes. The restaurant was run by Carmen, a talented chef with a warm smile and an inviting spirit. She was immediately intrigued by Zorath, his strange appearance and quiet demeanor. Despite his alien features, Carmen saw a deep hunger for knowledge in his eyes. She took him under her wing, teaching him not just how to cook, but how food could bring people together in ways Zorath had never imagined. Carmen explained that meals weren't just about eating, they were about sharing time, stories, and experiences with others. She showed him the importance of the family meal, the traditions that surrounded it, and how food was used to celebrate, mourn, and everything in between. Zorath's fascination grew as he helped Carmen prepare dishes that were passed down through generations. With every new recipe, he felt a sense of belonging that he had never experienced before. As Zorath spent more time with Carmen, he realized that his bond with food was deepening into something more. There was a warmth in her kitchen, a kind of connection he had never known in his own world. Zorath began to feel something stirring inside him that went beyond mere curiosity. Carmen's kindness, her knowledge, and the way she treated him with such respect and care began to awaken feelings he hadn't expected. Carmen was no longer just a mentor. She had become someone he cared about deeply. But this new relationship, along with his passion for understanding Earth's food culture, would be put to the test as Zorath's past began to catch up with him. The Galactic Empire would soon come looking for him, and his new life on Earth could be in danger. The Galactic Empire, with all its advanced technology and authority, was used to controlling civilizations across the galaxy. But Earth had something they didn't expect: the emotional power of its food culture and the bond it created between humans. Zorath, once a loyal member of the Empire, now stood alongside humans, fighting for his new home. The Galactic Empire had sent its strongest agents to Earth, intent on bringing Zorath back and destroying the world he had come to love. But what they didn't understand was how deeply connected the humans were to each other and their traditions. The Empire believed they could easily defeat Earth with their superior technology and firepower, but they underestimated the strength of human unity, creativity, and resilience. Zorath and the human chefs, with their knowledge of food and culture, came together to fight back. They used the very thing the Empire had dismissed: human food. The chefs combined their skills with Zorath's unique alien technology to create a plan that would not only protect Earth, but also send a message to the Empire. They would use food as a symbol of resistance, as a means of connecting the Earth's people and uniting them against the Empire's cold, calculated rule. In a dramatic turn, Zorath and the human chefs cooked a massive feast that symbolized everything humanity stood for: love, family, tradition, and strength. The scent of the dishes wafted across the battlefield, and it was as if the food itself had the power to unite people and turn the tide of war. As the Galactic Empire's forces began to see the emotional impact that food had on the humans, they realized they had underestimated the strength of this seemingly simple planet. With a combination of strategy, teamwork, and the emotional power of food, Zorath and the humans were able to defeat the Empire's forces. The victory was not just about strength or technology, it was about understanding the heart of humanity, something the Empire had never been able to grasp. Zorath's decision to leave his perfect, controlled world behind and embrace Earth's chaotic, warm, and unpredictable culture was no longer a source of confusion. What had once felt like a foolish choice was now a source of deep fulfillment. He had found his place among the humans, not just as a mentor or ally, but as part of their family. In the kitchen, Zorath had learned what it truly meant to share a meal, not just with ingredients, but with love and respect. The humans had taught him that food was more than sustenance. It was a way to build relationships and strengthen bonds. Zorath had transformed, from a chef who only cared about perfection to someone who valued the connections food could create. Now, Earth's chefs welcomed him as one of their own. He was no longer an outsider, but a beloved member of their community. Together, they had fought back against the Empire, using their collective strength and the power of food to show that no force, no matter how powerful, could ever break the bond humanity had with each other. Zorath had finally found his home, and he was ready to start a new life, a life filled with connection, love, and the simple, powerful act of sharing food with others. This victory, born from teamwork, food, and the emotional strength of humanity, marked the beginning of a new chapter for Zorath and his human friends. He had discovered that the real strength of Earth wasn't in its technology, but in its heart. And that was something the Galactic Empire would never be able to conquer.